Hi there, my name's Anthony McMorran and I'm a massage therapist and instructor. When I took my first Myofascial Release class from John Barnes more than 20 years ago, I felt a little bit like I was coming home, or that I finally found an approach that felt right and it made sense in its delivery. I liked that the work was slow and mindful. Its foundation seemed to be a deep respect for the client and by extension for us as therapists. With MFR, it mattered what the response of the client was. We weren't just doing things to people. It mattered physically, mentally, and emotionally. And in fact, this response of the tissues under our hands and the inner state of the client was foundational to the work. Establishing rapport and the quality of empathy were important and valued. With MFR, we therapists were encouraged to do our own work so that our own pain, baggage, and limitations don't color the treatment space too much and limit our ability to meet our clients where they are. You know, when we're clear and healthy, we're a much better resource for our clients, yes? So that's what drew me to the approach and continued to draw me for annual trips to study with John and be as good a therapist as I could be. He modeled compassion, grounded attention, detachment, wisdom, all thrown in with a great sense of humor, and all traits that I admire and emulate. So this is what I take away from my study and practice of myofascial release. They're what inform my work with clients every day, and they're what form the backbone of my ongoing workshops in Costa Rica. So science is always changing, that's a given. So no matter what our understanding of something is at any given moment, it's sure to be incomplete as new evidence and facts are discovered. Have you heard the story of the 4 blind men and the elephant? So 4 blind men come up to an elephant, one feels its body and says, oh, the elephant's like a wall. One feels its leg and says it's like a tree trunk. One feels its tail and says it's more like a rope. One feels its trunk and says, oh, it's more like a thick vine. So the point of the story is, so the man with his hands on the side of the elephant may be said to be more right in his description of the elephant, as that encompasses the largest, the bulk of the animal. More so than, say, the man on the tail. Lots of animals have little tails. So the man at the trunk, though, could also be considered more right, as the trunk of the elephant is a unique and distinguishing feature, even though it's not its largest part. So the point of the story is that we all come from this limited perspective, and we all do better when we learn from each other, listen to each other, and when we're open to renovating our ideas, our understandings, and beliefs, not getting too attached to them. The story only becomes problematic if one of the blind men insists that his perspective is the only true one and refuses to explore what others have discovered, right? Or on the other hand, if the other blind men with the more accurate description of the elephant spend their time denigrating and ridiculing the ones with apparent less accuracy. We all have the same resistance to change, and research methods will continue to develop. Each discovery we make builds a foundation for avenues of research and approaches to treatment that weren't available before, changing our understanding of the work. We stand on the shoulders of those who have gone before us. We all want what's best, better health, and the ability to be effective in our work. Our explanatory models will change. Our work will constantly mature and improve. I remember John Barnes saying in a workshop that he had developed a working hypothesis of why MFR works. So beyond that hypothesis itself, I really liked that description because it kept me open to continuing to understand what I was doing in my work, why it might work the way it does, and how new information can be incorporated into my understanding. There's a saying in medicine that if you hear the sound of hoofbeats, think horses, not zebras. So I like to use the simplest and most likely explanation for what I do. So I love demystifying work, and I like rooting my work in principles and paying very close attention to the therapist-client relationship and dynamics, the biopsychosocial arena. So there, I just wanted to clarify some things around myofascial release in case you're considering coming to Costa Rica for our annual workshop and are wondering, well, myofascial release isn't that kind of passé, but I'm not throwing the baby out with the bathwater. I'm going to continue to use and teach that slow, mindful, client-centered approach to manual therapy that I call MFR, that we've been calling MFR for now. And as was recently discussed on our social media site, the term MFR could be considered a legacy coding as it becomes more evident that it's not fascia that's releasing. It's obviously the nervous system is mediating the changes that the client experiences and that we feel under our hands. And really, probably nothing's really releasing, except that release is a fantastic description of the felt sense of the client who experiences the work. And isn't that what we want to feel, is a release from the burden of pain restriction? So leave your comments or questions below, whether they be about MFR in general or the upcoming Principles and Techniques workshop in Costa Rica, January 13th to 18th at Pura Vida Resort and Spa. It's a great conversation to have. Let's keep learning and listening and talking and moving towards being the best service and help to our clients. And if you come to Costa Rica, I promise you will leave with a deepened perspective of your work and your worth. A bag full of great techniques to use right away with your clients, and you'll have a fun and rejuvenating time away from the day-to-day and a little bit of winter. So a link to the resort and event page are below, and thanks so much for your time. Bye for now.